Hello, car lovers, and welcome to the C&C Auto Show, and I am Aaron Clements.
I'm John Ryan.
And we are both here because we would like to share information with you, and our goal is to give you information on ways to make your car, truck, or SUV safer and to make it more dependable and to make it last longer for less money, and we'd like to throw in less hassle also. And we have several methods of doing that. Our preferred method is by the telephone because that's when we get to talk to you also, and that's what we enjoy the most. What makes the show a lot of fun is the phone calls.
Yep.
So we definitely encourage you to call in, and that's 8:05 to 10 Eastern Time on any Saturday morning that you should choose. Just give us a call on that number, 706-863-5800. You can also watch us live on Facebook. That's also Saturday mornings, 8:05 to 10. You can send your questions in that way also. And you can watch past shows on YouTube, on our YouTube channel. So just go there to watch those past shows. And we got some neat videos on there, too. Some great tips about taking care of your cars there. Okay, just before we turn the key on this bad boy, I want to mention that if you're looking for a good professional, I'm going to have to change that to great. Great professional automotive repair facility in almost anywhere around our beautiful country. Go to NapaAutoCare.com and search for a list of Napa Auto Care centers in your area, and you will find some great people to work with. You just need to make the choice of which one that is best for you.
That's right.
When you go there. John Ryan, we're ready to light the fuse.
Yeah, what kind of fuse you like?
Let's go with, well, I know which one you're going to pick. Go ahead and
do it.
Yep. I knew that would be the one you picked. That's a Chevy diesel truck.
Yep.
Duramax. All right. Beautiful. So we are cranked up. We're ready to go. And along with answering your automotive questions, we always like to have a theme for the show. And the theme for the show today is something that is huge important for everyone. And that is?
Driving at night.
Exactly. When the sun goes down, that presents a unique set of dangers, which explains why accident-related death rates are 3 times greater at night than during the day. And also because safe driving knowledge is safe driving power. The best way to stay safe at night is to understand the challenges of driving in the dark. And on today's show, we will share some tips with you that will keep you safe driving at night.
Okay.
That will be huge. Okay, we always like to start the show with a tech tip quiz, so we will do that. And again, I want to mention, number to call, 706-863-5800. And, of course, the winner of the tech tip quiz will receive a beautiful golf shirt, and it has the C&C Auto Show logo on it. Underneath that, it says, I answered the tech tip quiz. Now, only a few select people see that. And if you go to D.C., there's a building and a big rotunda and pictures of each winner is around there. And I'm sure you believe all that. Mm-hmm. Okay, but really winning that shirt is a game changer. I mean, it's big. All right, Billy left his cell phone in his mom's car. Even though he was traveling on an interstate at over 75 miles an hour, he did not have a phone. He called her and told her that he had left his cell phone in her car. How did he call her at 75 miles per hour when he didn't have a phone? 75 miles an hour. All right, if you know the answer to that, you give us a call. Number to call, 706-863-5800. And we want to go ahead and start giving some tips about driving at night because that is going to be, that is our theme for the show. Now, one of the things that can happen at night is night blindness, and it's a condition that makes it hard to see in poor light or at night. And if you think you may have that, or really even if you don't have that, because this is something that can prevent it, see an eye doctor.
Yeah.
And if you don't have anything like that, just schedule a regular appointment and see eye doctor on a regular basis, and make sure that you don't have any conditions coming up. But if you do have that, a lot of times an eye doctor may be able to go in and do some things to repair it or make it a lot better. Sometimes there's no real magic cure
Yeah.
to doing things to help for night driving, but there's definitely a lot of things that can make it better and a lot of things that can make it to where it won't get worse. So don't hesitate to, well, just put it on your list. Go see an eye doctor if you, especially as you start getting a little older, do it a little bit more regular.
All right. You ready
Really
to go to the
important.
phones there?
I'm ready to go to the calls.
All right. Let's go over to Richard.
Go ahead.
Richard, welcome to the show. And what could we help with this morning?
You want to know how the caller made a call at 75 miles an hour?
Yeah, hold on, but we before you give that shot there, we need to put you up on the stage to do that.
Oh, all right.
Okay, and how did Billy make that cell phone or make that call to his mother at 75 miles an hour when he didn't have a phone?
I didn't know he didn't have a phone.
No.
Oh, I guess he was in an airplane, then he opened the window and shouted out of the window when he flew over our house.
Oh, he must have some heavy duty lungs on him there if he did that.
Yeah.
Extra heavy.
Not to mention when he stuck his head out the window of the airplane, what would he have looked like? He would have.
Yeah, that's right. A lot of slobber too, I reckon.
Oh, John
I didn't hear
Ron, what
the
we gonna have to do
entire
to him? Oh man, oh,
Hurts,
Richard, I'm sorry, man.
That's okay.
Thank you.
I'm a farmer. I'm used to disappointment.
Say the cows do that to you.
That's right. That's right. Broke down cotton picker this morning was doing it to me.
All right, thank you, Richard. We appreciate the call.
And we enjoy your show.
We enjoy you calling. Okay, the number to call 706-863-5800. And John Ryan, who will we be going to?
I think we're going to Danny.
Man, that is perfect. Danny, welcome to the C&C Auto Show. And what can we help you with?
Good morning. I wanted to try to answer the tech question.
Whoa, you are trying to have your picture hung on that rotunda in D.C. then as a
There
tech
you
tip
go.
winner. A whole building was built for that thing. Wow,
I understand.
that's huge.
Our tax dollars at work.
Yeah, there's been worse things. Okay, all right. We are ready, and I think that you are already on stage. Blue has already set you up to be there, and we are ready for you to answer our tech tip quiz.
He must own a GM product and use an OnStar.
Whoa, I didn't think about that one, and it's not a bad try, but oh man, come on. All right, sorry about that.
Okay.
Therapy will help.
Okay.
Okay. The number to call, 706-863-5800. We are ready for an automotive question or an answer to the tech tip quiz, and we are ready to roll.
All right, Aaron, let's go over to Charles.
Hey, Charles, welcome to the C&C Auto Show.
Hey, good. Fine Saturday morning, Mr. Aaron and Mr. John Ryan Mooney and all the fine people down there at the showroom on Telfair Street. How y'all doing this morning?
We are doing good, and what can we help with this morning?
Well, blue looks good on me, so let's hear Blue blow that horn. I'm gonna try to tech tip quiz.
All right, Blue is there. We are ready for you.
Okay, well, I guess I didn't know this until I bought my new Murano with the you program your phone into your car. That's what it was. Although he didn't have to have his phone with him to be able to do that. That's how he called his mom, through his phone, through his car.
I think your phone has to sync to your car, don't it?
I guess, but
yeah.
I mean, I figured maybe he had one a little bit more advanced. All he had to do was put his
that
number in
advanced
something. I
model.
don't know.
You got a pretty advanced foghorn.
Okay, all right. That's okay. Hey, That's my norm right there.
Hey,
right?
Charles,
my norm is foghorn.
Don't worry, Charles. They abuse me too. Okay, the number to call 706-863-5800. And we are ready for automotive question or also an answer to the tech tip quiz. And John Ryan, who will we talk to next?
We're going to a real quick break, and we're going to go to the break, then be right back.
Oh, wow. It slipped up on me. We'll be right back.
real fine, my 409. She's real fine, my 409, my 409. Well, I saved my...
Welcome back to the C&C Auto Show. Dim your interior lights. Lights in your car could cause nighttime glare on the windshield or attract your attention away from the road. And I think that's a great tip. I do that in the mornings also. A lot of times if the lights are just too bright, it kind of makes it where you don't see as well.
Absolutely.
Great idea. Okay, if you have a question about your car, truck, or SUV, give us a call, 706-863-5800, 805 to 10 Eastern Time, any Saturday morning. John Ryan, who are we planning to talk to?
All right, let's go over to Stacy.
I think that's a great idea. Stacy, welcome to the show, and what could we help you with?
Yes, sir. I have a 2012 Chevrolet Silverado pickup truck, 5.3 liter, and here recently I've had a check engine light come on and had it checked at a couple of auto parts store, had the codes pulled up, and I was running a 175 code and a 172. And it's saying the bank one system's running too rich, and I've been told it was my oxygen sensors. I was wondering if it's reading those codes, why would my oxygen sensors be needing to be replaced if aren't they doing their job? You know, could it be something?
Stacy, did that place sell oxygen sensors? Stacy, you're exactly right. That's I'm glad you're looking at it that way. Of course, if the O2s are reading, what the system's doing, you would assume they are doing correct. Now, no doubt they can stick one way or the other if they were always lean or always rich. But in so many cases, you're 100% right. If it says it's always lean, couldn't it be a vacuum leak? Couldn't it be something that simple? And in a lot of cases, it can be.
Pressure regulator?
Yeah, pressure regulator. Or, like you said,
Yeah, he did say it was running rich on one side.
Yeah, right.
Pressure regulator.
It could be, higher fuel pressure than normal. That fuel pressure is actually pulse width modulated. It actually has a very fancy fuel pump that's basically it varies the pressure electronically. It's pretty cool. So yeah, you're exactly right. A lot of times, the codes they give you a whole list of parts that it could be, and sometimes they recommend replacing all these parts, and it doesn't fix it, and you've got a lot of money tied up for something that could be very simple. Matter of fact, on those trucks, when the mass airflow sensor just gets dirty, even if it gets just the slightest bit dirty, it can skew the fuel trims to where they'll either go lean or rich. So it could be something that simple also.
I've replaced the mass airflow sensor since then.
Okay.
And the code, we reset it, and the code went away, and it came back on and reading the same thing. So, and also, whenever I take off, after I start my vehicle, I'll take off, and I have a sound coming from my engine. Sounds like my truck is a diesel. It's like, I don't know.
Sound like
it's
spark
weird.
not doing it.
How many miles are on this truck, Stacy?
It's almost 112,000.
112. And as far as maintenance, like has the tune-up been done, and you've kept a good oil change record and all that?
Oh yeah, yes sir.
So go ahead.
Oh, yeah, I was just going to mention something about the check engine light. You go ahead with what you were going to say first.
Just what I was going to say is it more when it's cold and the noise kind of starts to go away?
Yes. When it first starts running a little bit, and even after a while, after I stop and I'll take off a little bit, it'll make that sound, and if I give it more fuel, it'll go away.
Right. I'm thinking two things that are kind of notorious and common on that just really any 5.3, whether it's in a Suburban or a Tahoe or anything. The exhaust manifolds can leak a little bit. Have you ever heard an exhaust leak? When it's cold, it does kind of sound like, louder than normal. That's what it sounds like.
I noticed that. No, sir, I haven't.
Okay. It could be an exhaust manifold. The manifolds are known for two things. One, the bolts breaking off just out of just because of the I guess the heat and as far as the warpage and the contraction and everything in the metal. Sometimes the bolts break and cause a little bit of a leak, and then as the engine warms up, it definitely gets better because of course the gaskets are kind of sealed more when it's warm. And like you mentioned, you can still kind of hear it. That's kind of a common thing. But the other thing is, and it's not necessarily a good thing, those trucks do have, I guess you could say, noisy lifters. That truck actually cuts down to 4 cylinders going down the highway. I'm sure you know that under certain loads, as long as it's going at a pretty decent speed, and of course the load isn't very high on the engine, like for instance towing a trailer, it will cut down to 4 cylinders. And those lifters have given some problems, not necessarily for failure, but for noise. So I would kind of lean in between those two as far as, one or the other being the problem.
Okay. All right. My next thing was taking it to the dealership, and they're going to charge $100 to put it on their machine. Tell me what their solution is.
Stacy, that's the part that I was going to mention real quick, and I'll mention this first. There's a lot of great dealerships out there, and you can take it to a dealership, which is absolutely fine. But also, there's a lot of, fantastic other shops, independents. You can have Napa Auto Care Centers. There's also franchise, and it's not necessarily the name on the side of the building. It's how the building's run, just like anything else. You can go
And
into
the
a
equipment.
fantastic name brand restaurant and have bad service, but you can go to one in a different city or a different area and have fantastic service from it. So it just depends on how the place is run. So finding a shop that you kind of relate with, whether that's a dealership or an independent. But I'm going to mention real quick about the free tests. And those are very tricky. You didn't do bad going by and having it tested, because to me it is a pretty good service on being able to say, well, this is the code. Because, for instance, we do that. We give a free code check. We'll let you know what code and what it's about and what you might expect. But on that code, I would not go buy any parts because of it.
Right.
And I'm going to just throw an example out. EVAP code, it shows that you got a gas leak. What's the first thing people do? They say, well, it could be my gas cap. That's the cheapest thing I could buy.
No, you said it is my gas cap.
It is my gas cap. So they go buy a gas cap. They spend $20-$30 on a gas cap.
You gotta get
they
lock
put it on there. All right, now the place clears the code, so the light's off. So in your mind, it fixed it. But once you clear it, the computer goes through a drive cycle, and it may take 2 days, a week, or 2 weeks before it goes through that drive cycle to make the light cut back on. So in your mind, it come back on now, I got a different problem. Well, you got the same problem you had before. So I would recommend, unless you reach back there and it was a gas cap was completely loose, then that's fine. But if the light comes back on, I would then go have it checked. And don't go buy a lot of parts just over a code only. Situation.
And two, just to add to that, a lot of codes are fixed by computer reprogramming, which is a part you can never buy, obviously. So just keep in mind.
Be careful. And the only reason I mentioned that, like I said, I think checking the codes is good. Nothing wrong with that. But I just don't like to see people waste money, because then they don't want to have the diagnostics once they done spend all their money. They say, I done spent $300 on this. I don't want to. I don't want to get a diagnostic. Stacy, we're out of time. Great question. We appreciate it very much, and we'll be back with you on the C&C Auto Show.
good stuff with Aaron Clements and John Ryan Mooney.
He's bound and down, loaded up and trucking. Are we gonna do what they say can't be done? We've got a long way to go and a short time to get there.
Welcome back to the C&C Auto Show. John Ryan always picks out the song to play after each break.
Yep.
Okay, it's no secret that it's harder to see at night. The lack of sun makes it harder to see road signs, fellow drivers, pedestrians, cyclists, animals, especially deer. And the decreased visibility also makes it harder to gauge distance between your car and other objects. Slow down, allow more space between you and the cars around you, and you will be a safer nighttime driver.
You
have a question?
You hadn't really mentioned about how you're an avid deer hunter.
You talking about on hitting the
on hitting deer with your car?
A lot of them do get hit this time of year. That is absolutely true. Okay, the number to call 706-863-5800. That's 8:05 to 10 Eastern time on any Saturday morning. And John Ryan, who will we be talking to next?
And we're going to go over to Tyrone.
Tyrone, welcome to the C&C Auto Show, and what can we help you with?
I wanted to answer your trivia question for today.
Whoa! That means you get to get on stage. Don't trip. Right up here. Okay. Now stand right here. And we are ready. And what is the answer to our tip quiz?
Well, I'm thinking that he called over the Wi-Fi that's in his car. He used the Wi-Fi calling, like, they got text now and all these other different ways you can call over the internet for free. I'm thinking that's what he did.
Whoa, that's not a bad suggestion,
right?
But I'm not sure if you can do that in the car. Now, some cars do have Wi-Fi. That is true. And I imagine there might be some way to get on Wi-Fi and make a phone call.
Okay.
But that's not it. Tyrone, thank you very much for giving it a good shot there.
Can I call back and try again?
You certainly can. We would love for you to.
All right, I got you.
All right. Have a great day. Okay, number to call 706-863-5800. Who will we talk to next?
Yeah, let's go to John.
Perfect. John, welcome to the C&C Auto Show, and what can we help you with?
Good morning, Aaron. I'm going to try the tech tip quiz, then I got a quick question for you.
We would love that. We're ready.
Well, he had...
You're on stage. Hot lights beaming down on you.
He had one of those new computer things. I'm not sure what you call it, but you wear it on your wrist, like a wristwatch.
Uh-huh.
Does all kind of stuff, and he called from that.
So the wristwatch has a phone built into it?
It's, I don't know what you call it, but yeah.
Wow.
It's a computer
some of those do have a phone.
But
the only thing, it has to sync with another phone, don't it?
I have no idea how that works.
Well, not quite there then. Okay, and you had a question.
Yeah, I've called before. My Durango now has 80,000 miles on it.
All right.
When should I get the brakes checked?
I recommend having the brakes checked every time the tires are rotated, which is normally somewhere every other oil change on a lot of cars. Others, it might be 6,000 to 10,000 miles, somewhere around in there. But you can have that scheduled in to where it don't cost anything to check your brakes, because if you're rotating the tires anyway, the tires are off, you can look at them.
Yeah.
And unless you're having a problem. Now, if you're having something where you hear an unusual noise on the vehicle, then it may be recommended to check them sooner than that to make sure that you don't have any issues.
John, I can tell you that most of those Durangos, I know yours is fairly late model, isn't it?
Yeah, 14.
Yeah, most of them go right close to 100,000 miles before they really need any kind of brake service. So
that is amazing, too.
Yeah, it really
That's
is.
kind of what I was thinking.
Obviously, it depends on your driving habits, but I'm assuming you drive it pretty easy, not like a 16-year-old.
Yeah. 10 years ago, if somebody would have told me that they could get 100,000 miles out of a set of brakes, I'd have told them they were absolutely nuts.
Yeah.
But we see it all the time now.
Yep, that's right.
Okay, well, that's what I needed to know, and I think you're wrong about the answer, but anyway, I'll let you go.
Well, we'll see. I mean, you were kind of dancing around a little bit, John, and then actually we had to put that in front of our huge boardroom in there, and
Yeah.
but the judges come back and said just no cigar.
Okay, thanks a
All
lot.
right, thank you. Okay, the number to call 706-863-5.
And it might be a good idea for you to read the question one
Oh,
time.
you think we should?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, we certainly can. Billy left his cell phone in his mom's car, even though he was traveling on an interstate at over 75 miles per hour and did not have a phone. He called her and told her that he had left his cell phone in her car. How did he call her at 75 miles an hour?
Mm.
If you know the answer, you
All right.
would be the winner.
Well, let's give John a shot.
Let's do it.
Let's go to him.
John, welcome to the C&C Auto Show. And what can we help with?
Is this John this time? I guess so. Hey, first I want to try to guess the quiz. I have two possibilities, so I'm going to ask you this.
Uh-huh.
Was he convoying in front of or behind his mother at the time that he called her?
Well, anything's possible. I mean, this is a tech tip quiz. I mean, and you could kind of add stuff or delete stuff, but it's a tech tip quiz. So you tell me.
Okay, well.
Hold on. If you're going to be answering this thing, we got to get you up on the stage. Here we go.
Oh, yeah. Got me on up.
All right, go for it, dear John.
Okay, let's say he was following her back home or she was following him. He was within 30 feet or so of her car and may have called her using the Bluetooth.
Oh, John. Oh, John, this is wild, man. This is really big. This is huge, John. Oh, man. You just better be prepared because the news trucks are going to be pulling up at your house and all this other stuff. And,
oh, boy.
Yeah, and I would take a few days off and not go out in public for a little while because it's going to get really wild.
Good advice. I appreciate that.
Okay. Should be any second.
You are absolutely right, John. On the you have
one.
You have one. He did not have his phone, but he had his LG Bluetooth headset, and she was traveling at 75 miles an hour ahead of him. And he pulled up close to her and pushed the button and said, "Call Mom." Her phone rang, and he told her that his phone was in her car.
Yep.
That's pretty crazy.
That is wild.
Smart guy.
All right. So how fast was the electricity traveling to be able to do all this?
At the coefficient of resistance plus 75 miles per hour.
No, actually,
sounded good to me.
Yeah, that was good. 750,000 miles a second. Okay. John, you are a winner of the Tech Tip Quiz, and you can stay on the line. We'll get the information on where to send it. And we still going to get your question after this, but I got to do this part because if I don't, I get in trouble. Okay, so after we finish talking, you stay on the line. We'll get all your information, and you'll be able to get your prize package. That include a coffee cup, mug, a hat, and of course your I Answered the Tech Tip Quiz shirt. And we are ready for your question.
Sounds good. All right. I had a 1995 Explorer, and I had this intermittent issue with when I'm driving it the first time in several days. It has a skip to it. Sometimes it's rhythmic, sometimes it's not. I initially assumed it was the coil. I replaced the coil pack. That didn't fix it. I've done a couple other things to it. It's got new plugs, new wires. It's approaching 200,000 miles on it. It's a good strong run. It's a 4-liter, and I just don't know where else to look. Could it be the crank sensor, or I don't know that would be.
John, tell us a little bit more about. We got about 2 minutes before a break, but tell us a little bit more about the skip. Is it only when it's cold, or is it once it's warmed up, or what?
Going up a hill?
No, even if it's warmed up. Let's say, for instance, one time I drove from Augusta. I went all the way down to Wrightsville, and it was just on the outskirts of Wrightsville that it finally cleaned up. But a lot of times I'll crank it up, like let's say for the first time in a week or so, and it'll be running rough and skipping, and I'll drive like 20 minutes, park it, and about an hour later I'll get back in it, and it runs smooth as butter. And it was doing it right reliably for a while there, I mean consistently, but now it's less often that it does it, so it's making it harder for me to try to replace stuff and see it immediately whether that fixes it or not.
Right. I definitely got some ideas, but it'll probably take more than a minute to answer. John, would you mind holding to the break?
Yeah, that's fine.
All right, we're going to put you on hold. They'll go ahead and get your information, and then we'll pick back up with you.
Thank you, sir.
All right,
And
Aaron.
we'll be taking a break. We got just a few seconds before we go
we do.
into the break, so I'm going to mention a couple of real quick things, and then that way we won't mention this when we come back.
Right.
I want to recommend that you look away from the bright lights on oncoming traffic as you're driving, and a lot of times you can sort of line the center of your hood up with over at the right side of the road as you're going, but don't look directly at the other headlights that are in front of you.
That doesn't sound scary.
Yeah, it does. But, I mean, just you can still look over there in peripheral vision.
Right.
But try not to look directly at the headlights of the car coming for you, and that will keep you from having night blindness.
That's right.
Okay, we'll be right back after this.
Show with Aaron Clements and John Ryan Mooney.
Yup.
I've been driving all night, my hands wet on the wheel. There's a voice in my head that drives my heel. It's my baby calling, says I need you here. And it's 4:30 and I'm shifting gear. When she is lonely,
We are back with you, and as promised, we will go directly to the phone calls.
All right, let's go back to John, Aaron.
Hello, John.
Yes, I'm still here.
Okay, John, we'll pick up on your Explorer. You mentioned you had a 4-liter Explorer that it sounds like it's been skipping for a while. It's kind of intermittent. Some parts have been replaced. Is that correct?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Those 4 liters, and this is the reason I asked if it happens when it's cold, and how long does it happen? Those intake manifolds are, I'm sure you've popped the hood before. You notice that it's a plastic or a phenolic
I know
manifold.
where you're going, man. That is neat.
Yeah,
There we go.
they are really, really, really notorious for when they're cold. They actually suck unmetered air, which of course can cause a loping idle, run rough, like you mentioned, skip at idle, and it can last for quite some time. Say 20 minutes of driving until that manifold gets to engine operating temperature. Everything starts to warm up. A lot of times it can seal it back off just because of the warpage in the manifold. They use little rubber gaskets that, of course, get very, very hard over quite a bit of driving and mileage and whatnot. And they, again, when it gets cold, it pulls in air there, and that's after the mass airflow sensor. So it's air entering the engine that really the engine doesn't
They
know
sometimes
about.
set a lean code, too.
They can set a lean code. So that's kind of the route I'm thinking. Now, like you mentioned, you've done plugs, wires, coil, and all that kind of stuff. So I don't necessarily think it's in the ignition. It could be. But, a lot of times those 4 liters will have a lot of those same symptoms, and it end up being a intake manifold leak.
Yeah, because the coil would normally do it worse once it warms up.
Right,
as
or
opposed
loaded.
to doing it more when it's cold.
Yeah, 45, 50 miles an hour.
Mm-hmm.
Are you saying that all of those 4 liters have the phenolic intake, or some of them do and some of them have aluminum? Because this one looks aluminum, but I can't really see it too
Right.
well.
Yeah, I would say, well, I mean, it's a year range thing, but most of them were the phenolic. Now, even the aluminum ones did that. It's just the aluminum ones not that common as far as being on the vehicle. It was more on the Rangers and stuff like that. But either way, they have the same thing. They have this little plate that the injectors actually screw into, or not screw into, but bolt into. And, of course, that plate also leaks right there, but it's still underneath the intake.
Okay. Well, like I said, when it does skip, it feels very rhythmic. So I guess that could be because of its leak's proximity to certain valves,
That's correct. It's air is entering the engine that it doesn't necessarily know about because it's not being monitored by the.
It's not going through the NAF. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. All right. Well, I guess that'll be my next place. But what's a good way of testing that?
Well, with all the right equipment at a shop, typically what they would do is put a system. They'd seal the intake system, put a big boot over the throttle body, and then most shops have a smoke machine, and of course it puts smoke in the intake manifold, and anything that's not sealed you would see smoke from. Well, a quick test for you, and this is definitely if you don't have a plug wire that's arcing, you could spray carb spray kind of below the intake
or propane.
manifold.
I mean,
yeah,
if you happen to have
propane.
a propane tank with a hose on it.
Yeah. I always think propane's a little more dangerous, but carb spray or propane, and of course, if it does have a leak, a lot of times the engine will smooth out when that happens.
Yeah, and now of course the technician would be looking at a scan tool to see if it makes a
monitoring
difference
the fuel trims.
in the O2 and or the fuel trim to see if it makes a difference. But you can see if it makes it smooth out when it does it. A lot of times it would help you a lot.
John, it sounds like you're taking the engine out right now.
No, I'm loading a different truck up for the road, actually.
Do you need medical attention?
Yeah. Well, John, congratulations on the tip, and thanks for the question.
All right, y'all take
Hey,
care.
John,
Appreciate
are you going to hold on?
He already did. He's
okay, we're good, and
Yeah.
have a wonderful day. Number to call, 706-863-5800. John Ryan, who will we be talking to?
And we're going to go over to Steve.
Hello, Steve.
Hey, how
Welcome.
you doing?
Oh, we are doing very well. Welcome to the C&C Auto Show, and what can we help with?
Thanks. Hey, was that what that noise was?
Him
said he was loading a truck?
Yeah, he was loading the truck while he was talking. That's kind of neat, huh?
I thought
I thought somebody was rifling through a coffee can looking for that wing nut they threw in there 5 years ago.
Sounded like it.
Yeah, everybody's got their little items of assortments around their garage that
Ain't
they
that
have
the
to
truth?
dig through.
Yeah, we've talked to
I'm
people
gonna
on
need that one
backhoes,
day.
forklifts.
Yeah,
I'm gonna need that one day, and then you go, why did I say that? But anyway, I got a question about my 2000 Silverado. I have I recently had my tires rotated and balanced at one of the tire stores where I bought them, and I asked them about doing a transmission flush. My truck is in the mid 170s on mileage, and they said, "Oh, well, that truck's got over 100,000 miles. You need to take it to a transmission shop." And I was wondering, why did they tell me that? Because I know you people talk about it all the time, and I wanted to kind of get an idea what it's going to cost, or was there something maybe else I need to worry about on that transmission before I throw a bunch of money into it?
Steve, have you ever done a transmission service on this vehicle?
Never.
That's
No, I bought it used from a one owner,
right,
and I've never had a speck of trouble with it. Ever. I keep up with all the changes and so forth, but
right. Did they by any chance ask you that
else.
question?
Do what?
Did they ask you that same question if it had ever been done?
No.
No.
No, they just said we don't do that on vehicles over 100,000 miles.
Okay, that may be their company policy. I can tell you that, so many people think that. It's almost a mentality because years ago that was, of course, correct. I'll let Aaron explain why it was more harm than good. But I say on vehicles nowadays, especially that transmission, that's a great transmission, a 4L60E. I advise it. That torque converter can handle a lot of power. Those trucks make a lot of power. Those transmissions last a good long time. I lean towards doing it simply because we've done so many of them and they've lasted well over 200,000 miles. Even as far as the, kind of getting at it late, the 170,000 miles. Now, if it was 270 and you said, should I flush it? I would have a different opinion. But I say all the way up to 200,000 miles. If it hasn't been done, I would go ahead and do it. Aaron, tell them what's the difference between the way we used to do it versus what we do now.
Well, before the flush service, this conversation would be totally different. We would be saying that we would not recommend doing it. Even if you had 110,000, we'd be saying, no, I really wouldn't recommend doing it. But that was because the way to service the transmission was to pull the pan off, remove the filter, put a new filter on, put the pan back on, put 5 quarts of fluid in. The only problem is the system holds 12 quarts.
Right.
And what you were doing is putting 5 quarts of new fluid on top of another 7 or 8.
It's like adding a drop of
fluid.
Dawn into the old dishwasher.
Yeah, just trying to wash
well,
your dishes.
I know about all that. You're gonna
so what
totally
what you're doing now
it.
is if you in servicing that transmission. Now you want to take some precautions. You don't want to do it if you having slippage on the transmission or if your fluid looks burnt and dirty. Chances are it's not a good idea because you got some big problems coming. But if the fluid is just sort of normal, discolored a little bit, and just due for a service, I don't see any problem. But you do need to understand that if something did go wrong, then I would say that it's a good that it would have happened anyway. But great question, and we very much appreciate the call.
What is it, about $200?
Yes, it does run about on most vehicles somewhere around $225, $250 to do a complete system service. And the fluid type is critical. Make sure you use the right fluid. Okay, we are.
Now, I will tell you this though before I go because it made me think about something. When now I live on a hill, when I back out of my driveway, I'm going up the hill when I take off and drive. And on cold, when it's cold.
Steve, we're gonna run out of time. Is there
okay,
a chance
I'm
you can hold
there is
the break?
a little bit of a shudder. Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, sounds good. We're gonna put you on hold because we are out of time, and the time clock's on E. We need to pull over for now, but we'll be back with you on the road in no time. I'm Aaron Clements for co-host John Ryan Mooney, our show producer Sherry Moxley, Zach Llewellyn, Burt Dean, Bo Roberts, Alan Dean, and Sandy Klein. We would all like to say thank you to all of you that called in, and especially and those that logged into the C&C Automotive Show. We'll see you on the next trip.
My dad